um, I can understand why you think they are. You know, because one of their music videos, Fallen Angels, you know, I understand that kind of represents someone they're inspired by, but they're inspired by that person, and the person that they're inspired by eventually is letting that pass. And, they're like, okay, you know, it's fine. So I don't see what the problem is. If we're going to rage at them for being a so called poser, well, you gotta be kind of stupid. um, Even though, I mean, don't we all sometimes just look up to people? If you got a problem with being inspired and looking up to people like they do, Battlecross does that towards Metallica and Slayer, and they actually can play better. um, and BVB, who knows? They could. I mean, they're still ranked fast. I mean, I do know that Motley Crue started out really aggressive and eventually they changed. But I understand that we all changed. But yeah, BVB hasn't done that yet. So basically, they're not. They're underestimating them. Everyone underestimates BVB, and one reason why they do that is because a lot of their fans are eventually women or young girls, which can be annoying. I understand. It is quite annoying. Um, the next thing I gotta talk about is that them not being metal. That's really understandable. I kind of spoke about that earlier. They got the style that's glam rock, punk and all that, alternative. They switched their genres. That's what haters need to understand. They're a rock band who switches genres constantly. Um, Throughout each album, they switched their genre. Their first album was hardcore music, but eventually, if you say it sucks, you got a problem because they were just starting out. So you really should kind of give them a break. Um, it is when bands all start out, they got their own faults, such as Metallica. I mean, sometimes when they would sing on their first album, Kill 'Em All, it kind of sound sometimes other than the growling and all that. I mean, are the main vocals they were kind of irritating towards them. But the same thing was with almost every band. There's always going to be a difference in the lower part of it that people are going to dislike, and we probably are going to have to face that. Another thing is that is just yeah, they switched genres. Their second album was glam rock, glam metal, which is a certain part of metal that eventually people say it's not real metal, which is kind of, I find, somewhat dumb, but I do understand that because you do have your opinion and they do sound different. But if something sounds different to you, when things sound different to you, people go against it. They're just going by some kind of irritating natural instinct, you could say. When they hear something different, they don't like it. That's how I feel sometimes. So, another thing I can talk about is about the haters themselves. Haters, Andy has said that, they're miserable people. And the truth is, most of them are, because they're people who have been hurt in some kind of way, or are just bored and waste their life on the internet, deciding to bash on the people, and then defenders like me come in and tell them to back off. But the thing is that no doubt that haters should realize is that if they keep that up, they can end up being very miserable from all the hate that they receive. The suffer and the witness stuff. To suffer and the witness. Another thing I'm going to talk about is their symbolism, which is, it's very difficult to say whether they are on some kind of good side or not. I'm not pointing any defense. Any offense. Everyone has some kind of good part in them. But the thing I'm talking about is the Satanism part. Okay, here's something that obviously comes out to your ears and out of your head when you notice this. They're not Satanist. Okay, yes, their lyrics can be demonic in some way, and there's symbolism. But the thing about the symbol is that it's just a plain out pentagram. Just there's no dark thing to it. They just wanted to put a pentagram there. you know, they probably took it from inspiration Mully Crew. They just put it there to just put it there. You know, they just wanted their own symbol. They called it the Pentacharm. They just put it there. Simple as that. You know, they just wanted their own metal symbol. Most metal people did that, so them doing that doesn't make them necessarily Satanist. Another thing I'm going to talk about is basically what I'm going to say is the truth. The thing about the band is that like, let me list out the band. Andy, Ashley, Jinx. I don't remember Jinx's real name. And there is Jake, and then there's Christian Coma, CC. And Andy Biersack did go by the name Andy Six. The thing about that is that Andy, I mean, he does tend to be rude at times on stage. He can be quite rude on stage. But if you talk to him, I never spoke to the guy, of course, because I've never been to a concert. I've been to so many other concerts, so I haven't been to one of theirs, even though I almost did once, but that managed to work out. It's a long story. But the reason, if you speak to Andy and have a good conversation with him, he's a good person. He's a great guy. I mean, what you know is, I mean, if you ask him about beliefs or something, he doesn't bash on your beliefs. He won't say, oh, Christianity is all this, or atheists, or anything, or that all Satanism is better. No, they don't bash anyone. They just state what they think about it, and they stay honest about it. And, you know, again, they never said that they were Satanist. And, you know, there is an interview about them asking, what do you think about Jesus? And they just said, you know, I think it's just, you know, quite the popular belief. And, you know, they had nothing against that. You know, they never bothered the followers of Christ, you know. And there are many people who are Christian who like Black Veil Brides, and I know quite many of them, and, you know, they have every right to. It's their life and their decision. So BVB symbolizes the freedom of that. You know, do what you want. If you want to hate us, well, do it. But, you know, we learn from all the hate, because, you know, when we do that, we realize the mistakes. But then if you say, oh, thanks to the hater, well, of course I'll give them some oomph to head over to you and bar you more and just taunt the whole army. So yeah, the thing is that we all got our own problems. I mean, heck, Andy has stated that many times. He's like some kind of a prophet in a way, but I don't think he's necessarily trying to make a legit god of himself, even though he does sound like it at times. But I understand that's not what he wants. So yeah, this is the first video